What's up, guys? We are live. Monster Motivator TV coming to you real raw and live from beautiful Encinitas, California. This is going to be an awesome episode. I title it, Keith the Cowboy Meets the Monster Motivator.
All right.
Big Keith, how are you, man?
I'm outstanding. Thank
Good,
you, sir.
good. Now, if you guys, if it looks a little bit familiar, we already did an episode here back in the summer with Kelly Fitzgerald, my publisher, and that episode is what created the book, Knockout Fear in the First Round. When I found out through the interview, through the show, that Kelly had her own publishing company, I literally was in my truck out front and texted her and said, I'd love to write a book, but the problem is I'd rather have root canal done than write a paragraph. And she said, let's see what we could do about that and figure that out. But anyway, so this is a really cool place for me because it brings back some really good memories. But let's get into this. Cowboy Keith.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, man?
Another beautiful day in Encinitas, California, right?
Love it, man. First of all, thank you for coming out. Thank you for
you.
being here and taking the time. And Monster Motivator TV, what we do is we want to get them behind that black curtain.
Okay.
We want to share with them where you started, where you're at today, where you see yourself going, and we want to pull those golden nuggets out.
All right.
You ready for
Let's
that?
do it.
You ready? So let me make sure that we can see ourselves on here, because now anybody that jumps on, we should be able to read when they jump on. Let's see what we got here. Yeah. Let's tell you, man, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Technology is amazing.
It's better to be lucky than good. So we have it. We're ready. So
All right.
Cowboy Keith, first of all, where'd the name come from?
It's always the first question I get. Well, you know, it's kind of funny. In my when I was married, my second wife, she very much liked horses. I didn't know anything about horses then.
Oh.
And we ended up buying a little ranch in Vista, California, you know, some horse property.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful areas.
Yeah, we had a little bit of land there, and we got a couple of horses, and I just fell in love.
You did. And that was the first time you were exposed to them?
Yeah.
Because I've been around them. I'm from Jersey, right? So I've been around them a handful of times, and I love them. I love animals. But, man, they seem unpredictable to me.
They're big and scary.
And strong. Really strong. So that combination. But how was it at first when you first were around them? Because if you weren't around them, you know, growing up, did it take some time to get used to them?
Well, yeah, she loved them, and we actually bought a piece of property so we could have a couple of horses on it.
Okay.
And you know, I went out and bought the cowboy hat, and you know, I jumped on the back of that old horse. His name was Cloudy.
Okay.
And I was in love from that point forward. That was it.
It was it, huh?
Started riding bareback and never had a lesson or anything like that. And
No saddle?
No saddle.
Man.
Yeah. It was awesome. Loved those horses.
Wow. So you born and raised in SoCal?
I was born in San Jose, California.
Okay, yeah.
Up north.
Yep.
Came down here with the Marine Corps in 1984.
All right. Thank you for the service, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. How long were you in?
I was in about 6 years.
Okay. So growing up in San Jose, how was it?
Oh, it was awesome. You know, I was a you know, latchkey kid running around the neighborhood, playing tag till dark, and you know, cardboard hill, and
Man, that was me. I was
the suburbs. You know,
constantly getting. I always said when I moved out here in 2008, if I would have been born here as a little kid, right, my mom would have never saw me, right? Because the weather is just absolutely phenomenal.
Always on the run outside.
But how is the weather different up there than down here?
It's colder.
Is it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it?
You know, we're lucky here. We're blessed with this weather here, but it's a lot colder up there. You know, and they're having some rain, man. They got some problems up there right now.
Oh, with the mudslides?
Got to pray for
them.
them.
I think we're actually getting another storm this weekend. Yeah. So I don't want to hear about a drought next week.
Yeah. Exactly.
So growing up, typical childhood, would you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How'd you do in school?
I did pretty good. I was I could get C's and B's without trying too hard. I was always pretty lucky that way.
One of those guys? Oh, man.
If I actually tried, I could maybe get an A once in a while.
Okay.
I was blessed.
All right. The only way I get the B is when I made the D into a B. That was how I got my. That's how I got my B.
No doubt.
But playing sports, were you?
I was in the band.
What was your outlets? Okay.
I was in the band.
Okay.
Yeah, I learned to play instruments. My mom was a piano teacher.
Okay.
And I was the neighborhood. The neighborhood piano teacher was my mom.
All right.
So she taught all the kids,
All right.
and I was one of them kids, and
Yeah.
Forced to play the piano half hour every day.
Oh man, right? Did you like it though, or
Yeah.
was it a torture?
It came in later, handy later when you get a little bit older for the girls,
Right.
play the piano.
All right. Listen, that's right. So, how old were you when you got in the Marine Corps?
Well, right out of high school.
Oh,
Yeah, 18.
Why?
Well, get out of the house, go see the world, right?
All right. A little bit of freedom.
I was really blessed that I was in during peacetime.
Okay.
The guys today, they're out there in harm's way. You know.
Yeah.
And I was really blessed to be in during peacetime, and the world was a safer place than it is today. And my hat's off to the guys that are out there right now, a long way from home.
So interesting. I was just listening to a podcast coming here, Joe Rogan's podcast, and this Navy SEAL, retired Navy SEAL, Jocko, and he was telling some stories, and it's just absolutely, I mean, listen, it's just, like you said, hats off, man, to the men and women that serve.
No doubt.
Because we have a tremendous opportunity here that a lot of people don't have. So, awesome. So what made you do the Marine Corps versus Army, Navy?
Well, I wanted to be in the best.
All right. Was your dad, was your family in the Marine Corps?
No, I was the first one in my family.
Okay.
And I just like those dress blues, man.
All right.
They looking good, right?
Women again. Women. It all keeps mapping to women. That's a smart man. That's a smart man. So 4 years and out?
I did 6 years of reserve duty.
Okay. All right. So 4 years in, and then 2 years reserve.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you glad you got out?
Looking back, I am very glad. I was very fortunate to have that time, and but if looking back, I might have stayed in and do my 20.
Oh yeah.
Get your retirement.
You might do it a little differently.
Yeah.
What was the big takeaways from 4 years in full time?
Team. It's all about the team.
Okay.
It's all about the team. I got your back, you got mine.
Okay.
Together, they're not going to stop us no matter what happens.
Okay. So
we're going to get
it's
her
that
done.
brotherhood, that sisterhood that you create. And it's funny, I use that, a story like that, similar to that in my keynote. And I talk about, a lot of my message maps to your why. And I always say when your why becomes big enough, it's going to pull you through those fear barriers. But when your why becomes bigger than you, right, it's going to pull you through. And my ex-father-in-law, who I'm still close with, was First Force Recon in Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
And I remember talking to him one day, and I said, I'm like 23, 24 years old, and I go, Jim, as a man, I always wondered how it would be, how I would be in wartime, I never served, and I wasn't in war. And he just looked at me, he goes, you'd be fine. I go, how do you know? He goes, first of all, I know who you are, and he goes, second of all, you don't do it for you. I go, really? He goes, yeah, you do it for him, and you do it for him. And I use that story because that shows you how powerful your why really is. And look, the chips don't get any more important than when you're at wartime.
Absolutely.
So that's interesting. So you learned teamwork. You learned, I'm assuming, and I'm sure you learned leadership, right? You want to dive into that a little bit?
Well, the thing about the Marine Corps is that, like you say, it's very much about the brotherhood and watching the guy next to you and making sure that you got him, he's got you covered and you got him covered, and there's nothing else in the world that I've ever experienced like that.
Okay.
I kind of miss that.
Okay.
Out here in the real world, right?
But how does that help you in the real world? How is that?
Well, you look for people in business, for example. I look for people that can be loyal. I look for people that are going to watch my back, and I can watch theirs. I look for people that are going to stand up. I love working with ex-military guys. Guys that have been there, done that, been through the trenches, had some trouble, and fought back.
Okay.
And
that kind of. I'm glad you went there because right away in my mind as you're saying that, you're saying you're looking for that. Well, in order to do that, you have to build something called that intuition. Right, that inner GPS, that street smarts, if you will. So I'm sure those 4 years helped build that. In other words, you were a different person going in as when you left.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. 18-year-old kid, you know everything, right?
And even in your 20s, right? You might even leave thinking you know even more. But you are a different person. Not just age, but what you've experienced. And I always say that theory's great. But at the end of the day, I want the real world experience that I want to learn from. That's why I'm a big fan of modeling, right? If you can model and that's really what you're talking about with the military. When you can model, you can cut down the time and the mistakes.
Absolutely.
Most of the time, right? So you're out of the Marine Corps, now what?
Well, kind of bounced around for a little bit, and about around 2000s, late 90s, 2000s, I started kind of dipping my toes into real estate a little bit, real estate investing, and my brother and I would sit around late night drinking beers, watching those shows on TV about
the infomercials,
buying
right?
the
Flip
property,
for no money,
yeah,
right,
all those things, and we'd buy a few of the courses, and wish we had our money back afterward.
Right. So
that was a favorite pastime of my brother and I.
Was it? Yeah. Yeah. Older or younger brother?
He's older.
Older brother. Yeah. So, but did that get you started in real estate? And if you did, how'd you do it?
Yeah, it really did. I always knew that there was, you make money in real estate, but how do you do it? How do you start? How do you find the right people to connect with? How do you find the
model?
deals? And, right. Who do you look to? Yeah. And, going through all those courses and all that kind of stuff, it eventually, led to me getting real estate license and doing loans and, that kind of started the whole path.
Yeah, that's so. Did any of those courses actually help you, or
no?
No, you just it helped you say, I don't want to spend any more money on.
Yeah, I don't want to buy any more courses.
So how did you find the people to help you move forward? How did you find that?
Well, I was real fortunate in early 2000s to hook up with a loan company at the time. They did mortgages.
Okay.
And back then it was a little bit different than it is now. It's not quite so regulated back then as it is now.
But yeah, it's like the OK Corral back then.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody could get a loan if they could sign their name.
What was it, like 2002 to 2004
or
5? If you could fog up a mirror, you were getting a loan.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so many people leveraged, and I'm going to talk about that because you lived it. So many people live their life on just complete leveraging and putting themselves completely out there with nothing, to...
It's true.
Yeah.
That's very, very true, and I learned the loan business there, mortgages, essentially. I became a team lead with that company and working with some of the other guys and, some of the other gals that were doing loans. And, then I got my real estate license. And then I got married. I married another one of the licensed agents there.
All right.
And we went out on our own and opened up our own business.
Your own mortgage?
We did real estate mortgage.
Okay.
Yeah, we did.
Traditional real estate?
Pretty much, yeah. Residential mortgage. She'd go show the houses, and I'd do the loan and the closing and the negotiations.
Oh man,
that's a great combo.
That's awesome. Just you two, or did you build on that?
Well, we started out with just the two of us. We ended up getting an little office up there in Vista. We had about 7 to 10.
Real estate
both
agents?
Mortgage guys and real estate guys, and we did several million a month in transactions.
Sure. And what years were these?
That would have been about 2005 till about 2007 or so.
That was it. That was the bubble.
Just killing it.
That was the bubble, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember guys talking about like putting a house up in certain areas, putting a house up at 10 o'clock in the morning, and by 5:30 getting 20% over what asking.
Oh, yeah.
Just crazy. Yeah.
We couldn't hold on to property longer.
It actually happened to me. My first house, me and my wife, my ex-wife, we went to sell it, and literally, I'm not even kidding, put the sign up, and the next day, I had a friend of mine say, "Why didn't you tell me you were selling?" I go, "I already signed a deal with
it."
And I wound up selling it to him.
Right.
Yeah. Through the realtor. So the next day was absolutely crazy. So riding that wave, right? I'm assuming they were the times where you were able to reap the biggest rewards financially. Would that be?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we netted $250,000 in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, 1-2 transactions a month. We were getting both sides of the transaction.
Exactly.
What I mean by that is the loan and the real estate between my wife and I, 4, 5, 6 points per transaction. Houses around here are $500,000. I mean, it added up pretty quick.
Yeah, no, I mean, the math is what it is. And when you're talking about that bubble, it's not hard to understand, like, how that works. What I want people to see, one of the things I want to highlight here that's real important for business owners and a lot of small business owners is I believe what happens a lot of times is they become a victim of their own company. They become an employee of their own company and not understanding two things. Number one, how to identify your strengths so you can enhance your weaknesses, right? And double down, triple down, quadruple down on your strengths. And that's what you and your wife did. And I want to get into that. And also understanding that you have to, if you're going to be an employee of your own company forever, why don't you just work for somebody, get a check on Friday and give them the headaches, or learn how to scale your company. And I think they're the two things that you were able to show, and I want to dive into. But understanding that your wife brings a certain strength to that team, right? That,
absolutely.
and then you have a certain strength. And that same thing happened to me with my first business. I had a public adjusting firm in Philly. My ex-wife, right? She did the book, she did all the back end stuff, and my office manager, Robin, and I brought the business in, create the relationships, gave them the mess to sort out, and then went back out on the street and brought more in. I made them crazy, right? But you need that. You need that dynamic, and it really starts with, and I want your feedback on this. I believe it absolutely starts with your own level of awareness. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, absolutely. You know, I mean, when all this was happening in the real estate market back then, you know, I had no context. You know?
Right. That, I'm glad, right. I can see that, yeah.
I had no idea. I thought this was the way that it always was, going to be forever. And of course, you know, I didn't save a dime.
Right.
You know, I went out and bought 3 properties. Right. I went out and bought 2 houses. We had 2 horses. You know, I mean, just all the trappings of that kind of ill-preparedness for what was really going on in the market, which was this huge bubble that I didn't know.
Yeah.
Nobody told me it was a bubble. Yeah. Or if they did, I would ignore them anyway.
Exactly.
Because it's working
you knew
for me.
Better.
Yeah. Yeah. And so obviously, you know, that all crashed in 2010 or 2007 for us.
Yes.
And literally overnight, you know, it was all over. The game was over. We actually had, I remember it clearly, it was December 20-something, 3rd or something like that.
Wow. And
we got a call. We had, you know, we send our loans to a lender, and the lender literally locked its employees out of the bank. So we had 7 loans with that bank, and they literally locked the doors. It was over.
Just done.
The game was over. Done. Subprime was over like that. You know, A paper soon followed, and it was just literally overnight. It was over for us. Wow. So we had 7 contracts with clients, you know, looking to buy houses. There was no way they would ever get funding.
For people out there, just give a little definition of subprime.
So
A paper.
Right. So A paper is like people that got really good credit. You know, they can show all their documentation. They have all their paperwork in order. They're good, solid citizens, right? And subprime isn't.
Right. Right. It's the no doc.
Right. No documentation. You know, we were doing loans back there, you know. Literally, if you could sign your name, we just make up the rest.
Right, and let's also be fair, right? No doc, because I've done those, right? No doc was really set up for the entrepreneur.
Yeah,
because the reason you have a accountant, right? Every year I say the same thing to my accountant: sharpen that pencil.
Yeah,
let's go, sharpen that pencil, because at the end of the day, that's the game, right? So. I just want, so it's fair, right, that people understand that the no doc, there was a reason for that, and it was a great thing, because at the end of the day, those entrepreneurs that might not look like great people, I fell down, great people on paper, right, could definitely do what they said they could do.
Yeah,
it's just a different setup.
It got abused. It really got abused quite a bit. It was exactly for that.
No, but it got abused. But that was what it was for. Just so we're fair with that. So now, 2007, just like that. I mean, you can even remember the day.
Yeah, it was the 23rd.
What happened now in your world?
So, you know, when things are going good, you never think that they're going to go bad.
No, and especially when you've never experienced, like if you experienced the bubble before, right? Now you could do that.
Context,
and let me do this before we jump on. I want to get my phone. It looked like it fell behind there. So as always, guys, we're all on live. We're not hiding anything from you, because I can, even if I tried. Hold on 1 second.
Calling to the table.
Oh, got it moved.
There you go.
All right. So now we're back.
Hello.
Not that we ever left. So you got to tell us about your world, man. After in 2007, coming in 2008.
Well, literally overnight. I mean, it fell apart. I mean, I was so dependent on those loans and so dependent on that entire process.
And you were leveraged.
Oh, totally.
To the
everything was leveraged out. We had 3 properties that were financed out at 100%. All of our income was based on real estate and doing these transactions. Literally overnight, the income went from, $250,000 a year to literally nothing.
Right. And you're talking, just so you're clear, right? He's talking $250,000 net.
Yes.
That's after.
Yes.
That's take home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I remember that, I'm on the phone trying to save all these loans, and there's just nowhere to take them. It's over.
They closed doors.
The game is over. There's no place to go with these.
So now, 2008, what's going on? What are you doing?
Everything just starts falling apart. I mean, there's people knocking at the doors. Everybody wants to get paid for everything. And, the mortgage company, they want a payment every month. Right?
I know. And shutting the lights out and being real quiet only lasts so long.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
That game plan is so short term.
Doesn't work.
So
it started with our.
So where were you mentally when you're going through this? You and your wife, did it? I'm sure it caused a big strain on the marriage, on the relationship.
Horrible. It was just everything. We ultimately ended up getting divorced, and we lost everything. We lost our properties. We lost our horses. We lost.
Yeah, you just lost everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, and there was nothing that I knew how to do to get back to that level of income again. Especially,
or at least at that point.
Right. There was nothing that I could put my hands on and just replace that income.
Okay.
Right? Because it was so leveraged and it was so built on itself.
Yes.
Kind of incestuous.
You were so out there, right? That you had all your chips in, right? And there was no chips back here at all, right?
And the loans, I mean, we were making money on the loans and we're making money on the real estate, and now both of them are just gone.
Yeah.
It's up in smoke.
Now, what about the bank owned properties, the foreclosed and that kind of stuff? Was that still too early to get into that?
Yeah. See, I didn't know any other way to do it.
Okay.
Other than the way I was doing it. Because I just didn't see a way out of this.
Yeah.
And it was too early, because when I noticed it in December of 2006, I think it was, there was still a long time before the rest of the world would even notice what's going on, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. It makes a lot of sense, because you're in it.
Right.
You're starting to see things. Now, looking back, do you think there's things that you could have done?
Maybe save some money.
Okay. No, but let me ask you this, though. What about looking at other areas in the industry?
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, we were very much focused on traditional real estate, and we could have looked at maybe insurance, other ancillary industries to do that.
Okay. Because I think that's a great point, because especially in some areas, like I know up in like the Hemet, San Jacinto area, the Riverside area, these things we're almost getting close to that. They're putting them on the market today, and tomorrow they're getting asking price. So we are
definitely returning.
Yeah, we're getting. I don't know how far into this bubble. I don't know how high we are in this bubble. I'm not that connected, but I know we are. Things are going pretty well right now, right? And as they say, knock on wood.
Well, and I think too with Trump, whatever you believe about his politics or anything, I really believe he wants to reduce regulation, on these industry, like Frank Dodd, which is a major lending. I think we're going to see some relaxing of some of these regulations.
But what I want to I want to point out to people is, okay, if things are going really well, that's great, right? But it's always changing. Yeah. So learn from what you went through is, look, I have to look at other things, right? How do we enhance this? How do we keep moving forward? How do we keep growing, expanding? And I think if you had to do it over again, you would have said, you know what, let me figure this out a different way. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, we would have done things very differently. Definitely would have taken some of the money and paid down some of the properties.
Yeah. And look, the easiest job in the world is the Monday morning quarterback, right? We know that.
Exactly.
But if we can be that Monday morning quarterback now, that helps get that message out there, right? Because especially at this time, because things are booming doing pretty well. I'm not saying that they're 2004, but they're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So now that brings us, so you went through all that hard times, right? You went through your divorce, you lost everything. You have nothing as far as the material things. How do you rebuild? Like, what do you do? Seriously, I mean, mentally, because I know that there's mortgage guys that I knew still have not bounced back.
Oh yeah.
Mentally and emotionally.
Yeah, it's tough. It's especially for men, we're very much ego driven, right? And it's like a personal blow.
It's our
to
identity.
Us.
It's our identity.
It's not just what happened, but that was me, right? Part of me, and so it was real tough. And I was delivering pizza, for a couple of years, to pay the bills. I mean,
just to eat,
whatever it took. I could eat pizza and get some tip money.
There you go. That's called a win-win, right?
That's it.
There's a business plan. But again, what people have to understand. So 2009, 10, 11 is you were delivering pizza.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just trying to figure it out, trying to get back up on your feet, trying to get your head clear, right? Get out of this funk.
Right.
So, was there an aha moment? Was there a time where you said, "Okay, I'm starting to get this now. I'm starting to move out"?
Well, what I did is it came a little bit differently, and I kind of made a decision that I was never just going to depend on what I call my own personal production.
Okay.
If I was to ever build a business again, in the real estate business, it's very much personal production driven.
If you're not there, you're probably not going to eat.
You're not going to get a deal if you're not doing, And what looking back is I got some perspective on what had happened, and I realized I was doing everything, from the lead generation to the follow up with the customers.
You were the employee.
Everything.
Right, of your own company.
And, around 2009, I decided, I don't want a business model like that anymore.
So before we move on, this is a great point to highlight. And you tell me if you agree. You might not, but you probably will. There is not a university in this world that's going to teach you what you learned during that downtime. Is that correct? Not a university in this world that's going to. And I went through it with a restaurant, right? I realized what I learned is I'm better on this side of the counter than I am on that side of the counter. But that's what I want to highlight, right? Once you can get out of that funk, it's that you either win or you learn.
Right.
And when you can adopt that mindset, you've won.
Oh, yeah.
You've won. So I love
greatest education in the world is failing.
But not everyone can do that, right? Or they can, but they don't.
Right.
So I love that you now took us back out of that dip, right? So now you're saying, okay, I'm going to regroup. It's time to bite down on the mouthpiece. Let's get in there and get going. Now what? What's the game plan?
Well, the first thing that I started to do is back then, the internet isn't quite as big as it is now, and can't do nearly as what you can now. But I started on that path. How do you generate a lead on the internet? What does that mean?
And this is what,
2009, 2010.
Exactly. But that's it, right? So thinking outside the box, get outside your lane, and even though it doesn't look like it might not pay off, but obviously, if we had the golden, if we had the globe that we can look at and fast forward. But your life is going, Keith, you're either going to get outside your box or you're going to stay in your box and you're going to stop growing. So you're figuring out the internet, this crazy thing. And at that time, was it dial-up?
We just passed
dial-up?
Yeah,
all right.
And what I wanted to do is I wanted to figure out, I started, because of my background in the real estate industry, I wanted to figure out how can we generate a lead online for a real estate agent.
Okay.
That was it, and then that grew into kind of some other businesses, and I learned SEO, and I did video and all this stuff, the whole gamut that any kind of beginning internet marketer goes through.
And you learned it yourself.
Okay. Taught it myself and had some success and had a few clients along the way.
Okay.
But kind of what was still happening in the back of my mind is that if I help somebody generate leads online, for example, I kind of feel like I'm just helping them do more of the insanity.
Okay.
Right? there's a personal wheel. I call it the hamster wheel of personal production.
Okay.
Right. And we're running for our next deal and for our next client and for our next.
I see. Okay.
But how does that really help us get to where we really want to go? I mean, if we're just doing more and more and more of this all the time, we're not getting anywhere.
Right.
We're just doing more and more of this.
Right. And expecting
Right?
different results, and we know what that.
That's insanity, right? So ever since then, I've just been wanting to take it to the next level.
Okay.
Help people get out of that personal production. Help them do more simultaneously to helping them get out of the personal production.
So that's great. Now I really need to know, what are you doing? What is it that you're implementing?
Well, the organization that we're working with now is a company called The Convergence. It's a Facebook group, and it's kind of a loose connection of different companies and things that we're working with. But the idea is that we have to start with personal development. We got to have our mind straight.
Love that.
Because we can lead a horse to water, right? But we can't make him drink, right? So I'm here to tell you that the technology now exists today, right now, that can drive an entire sales organization through fulfillment totally hands off, right? So we can have the marketing done, we can have the sales done, and we can have the fulfillment done.
The whole funnel.
Everything.
The whole funnel, yep.
Right? So why are we still struggling? Because it's up here, right? So what we've done since then is we work with agents, entrepreneurs, and other people to kind of teach them that, you still got to do your personal production, but let's layer it, right? Let's add other streams of income, especially if they're automated, especially if it's not you doing it, you're not doing the fulfillment, right? Let's layer different streams of income so now we can have a bunch of things happening simultaneously, and not just be dependent on me going out.
Love that.
And doing the personal production.
So this is a group that you're with that's doing this.
Yeah.
So then you're generating leads. Your leads are people that want to learn this system,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And it's different avenues. So I'm assuming webinars, and if you want to kind of expand on what that really is on the back end a little bit.
Well, there's like, for example, for real estate agents, real estate agents normally are profiting on one thing, the transaction.
The house,
But what about the loan? What about some financial planning for the individual that's actually buying the house?
Okay.
How can we leverage the house they're buying into multiple properties?
Okay.
Right? What about credit repair? Are they making any money?
Great, I love that. It's
so ancillary businesses and services.
And you actually teach them how to incorporate it.
Right.
Right? So if they're doing it one way, now you can say, okay, let's add this in, let's add that in, let's add this in.
And we've even done it to where other people can actually, they don't even have to take the calls or interact with the people.
Okay.
Because the technology now exists, they don't have to do that anymore.
Okay.
Right? I mean, there's...
No, it's...
If somebody wants to find something out, they can go find it out on the internet.
It's a game changer.
Exactly.
It's an absolute game changer and changing every day.
Right.
So, again, it maps to what you went through to become that person on the other side, created this ability to now see things that you wouldn't have seen or be willing to see, right? Because think about this. If the bubble didn't burst and you're still making that money and someone came to you and said, Keith, you got to see this internet thing. And we're like, why? Right?
I'm doing
Are you
good.
crazy?
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Right? So it's life.
Right.
It's life. It's that boot camp. Say
Exactly.
they put us through that boot camp. So how how long have you been doing it?
Well, it's been an evolution.
Okay.
So we
Crawl
started
before you walk kind of thing.
Started about in 2009 when I kind of said, okay, I don't want to deliver pizza anymore. Kind of worked up from there. We started with basic lead generation, and then we started adding some more sophisticated software.
Okay.
And it's just kind of built.
Okay. How long has it been?
On top of that, it's been about 6-7 years now.
Okay. Now, are you doing mortgages? Are you doing real estate? What's going on?
Well, what I do now is that I have the automation, the lead generation systems in place.
Right.
So if my system personally produces a lead for me, I hand it off.
Oh.
You know, because I don't do personal production. That's what I'm teaching, not to do that anymore.
So you have people at your disposal that
Yeah.
you could refer it out to,
Exactly.
and then you get a commission.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's mortgage and real estate.
Yeah, we're actually it's a long list of things that we're doing, but real estate, mortgage, insurance. We do credit repair.
Okay.
We sell software. Obviously, that's the technology.
Now, when you say we, is this an actual entity that you're a partner in?
Well, the group itself is all this is an idea.
Okay.
Right? And the idea is that the technology is here. I have access to the technology, right? And so for anybody to step into the technology, that's what we got to teach them first. You know, the personal development, then the technology, and then the creating wealth.
Okay.
Right?
So you have a whole umbrella.
Yeah.
Right. Of really overall growth.
Right.
Both, emotionally, mentally, right, spiritually.
Right.
Right. Would that be accurate?
Yeah. A lot of people come to me and say, "Oh, I want more leads," and I say, "Well, let's talk about that."
Right.
Because do you really?
Right. And
what does that get you?
And do you need that?
Right.
Okay. So I love that because it's all about the mindset.
Right.
And before we get deeper into that and where people can find you and everything, because we are live, we have people jumping on, right, commenting.
Hey. Hi, everybody.
Hey. So Christina Logan, she's literally in the area that I'm talking about that is exploding in the Hemet area.
Oh yeah.
Just exploding out there. Christina, Marion, the Monster Moderator. Thanks for jumping on. Thank you so much. Tom Lanagard, just did a show with him last night. He's an attorney downtown. He also has a business called Eternal Roots, and what they do is they do custom documentaries.
Oh, cool.
And they video it, and he puts a whole package together for you. Awesome guy. Let's see who else we got on here.
Man, you got all kinds of people.
No, you're bringing the heat, big man. Bringing the heat. Dave Daley, the Monster Motivator. That must be Marion jumped on as me, and then our mutual friend Kelly Fitzgerald jumped on.
Oh, hey, Kelly.
Hey, how are you? I think your ears are ringing. I was talking about you earlier. Let's see. We have Tom Lanagard. Your audio is 10 times better than last year.
All right.
This one looks and sounds great. Thank you, man. And it's not me. It's Mevo. So I can't take the credit, but thank you for doing that. Bruno Martins from Connecticut. Thank you so much. I'm still going to take you up on that Brazilian meal when I get out there. Yeah,
there you go. Right
yeah.
on.
She offered. Marion jumped on as herself. Thank you, Marion. Chris Ripka, awesome podcast. This is the guy you want to. Here's the cool thing about this. When we jump off, you're going to be able to jump back on, reconnect with these guys.
Oh,
Chris would be a great guy. He's got an awesome podcast and awesome reach.
Great.
So he can, and you can do it right from your home office.
Awesome.
He's not going to drag you around like I do. John Corritt, big man, thank you, brother. Hope things are well down south. I've been following you and you and Diane. So you guys are doing great things. And I know I keep seeing the pirate theme. So break it down for us, big man. What's that all mean? So you brought the heat, big man. Brought the heat. So
thank you, everybody.
So now let's talk about how people can find you and what are some of the people that you're looking to attract and how can you help them?
Well, probably the type of person that I'm looking at is maybe somebody in their mid 40s or a little bit later, somebody who's been around and has had some success in their life, but they're really ready to take it to the next level.
Okay.
And set something up for retirement.
Okay.
Somebody that realizes that this isn't going to cut it.
Okay. Now, is there a membership fee to this?
No, there's no real membership. Where most people start is on the personal development side.
Okay.
Right. Usually we have like a one-on-one with them, a strategy call, if you will. Find out where they're at mentally, where they want to go, what's holding them back, what's the mindset.
Okay.
We do a lot of limiting belief breakthrough work.
Okay, love that.
Right? Because people have been taught their whole lives to think a certain way, and this isn't that.
That conditioning, right? That old
Right.
conditioning, that tape playing in your head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People run around all day long with limiting beliefs. I can't afford it. I can't do it. I'm not smart enough. I'm not tech enough. I'm not whatever enough.
Absolutely.
And that's all lies. That's all nonsense. And so, we got to start there.
Right.
Usually the next thing that happens after that is we introduce people to the technology. right? With our software, we have all kinds of very sophisticated software that we use online for marketing and that kind of stuff. And you know, it's amazing now. Big data. You've heard this term, I'm sure. You know, this is huge. Just in the real estate business, for example, based on data points, 300 data points per house. Every house has 300 data points. They can determine using some sophisticated algorithm which houses are going to sell with a 60 to 70% accuracy within the next 12 months.
Really? Wow.
This is the beginning.
Wow.
This isn't the end. You know, so you combine stuff like that kind of technology with automation.
And that's what you have access to. So people that get connected with you, right? And do you guys work solely on commission?
Yeah, everything we do is commission.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. But that's like the beginning, right? And see, the whole idea is that I want to get out of it.
Yeah.
It's not about me and what I can do anymore.
Yep. It's leverage.
You know, let's use the system, the automation that exists, all these different streams of income, and all these companies are on the internet now anyway.
Yeah.
So why are we, you know, pounding our head against the wall?
Right. Doing the old school.
Yeah, when all this stuff exists and we can have one customer, you know, be involved in several different
So if
things
I'm interested and I'm watching this, all I need to do is reach out to you and you'll walk me through it?
Yeah, we have, you can visit my website. My website's teamcowboykeith.com.
And what'll happen, right, when we jump off and you jump back on, post all your information. So these people aren't worrying about writing it down and missing a letter, right? You're going to post all your info later today, I would imagine. Jump back on, reintroduce yourself. And so if I wanted to learn more about this, I'm just going to be able to reach out to you direct, right?
Great. Yeah,
you know, walk me through and answer any questions, right?
Absolutely.
What's the name of it? What's the name of the
Well, the Facebook group is called The Convergence.
Okay.
We have a group page over there on Facebook.
Okay.
And then my website is Team Cowboy Keith.
Okay.
And people just refer to me as Cowboy Keith. So you'll find me out there. I'm all over the place.
Love it, man. I love it. So is there anything that I didn't touch on that you want to mention before we do jump off?
Well, I just really like to mention, you know, the mindset. Because that is becoming more and more important, I think.
It's the epicenter.
It really is, you know, because when I was younger and even when I was having all that success, I didn't have the mindset that I have now.
Right.
You know, I was just caught up in that moment of what was happening, right? I wasn't looking out for the long term, you know. But I think if people really grasp the idea that the technology exists, you know, that we don't have to, the promise of the internet is here. Yeah. It's here and it's now. You know, when we were little kids, we're hearing about, you know, paperless society and the internet's going to do everything, and, you know. But that is actually happening now.
It's where we are.
It's where we are. But we got to have it up. We got to get it.
You do. And here's one of the things I love to touch on too, is I speak on fear. I'm a fear barrier guy, right? And I believe that, look, me and you could sit here and reel off 100 fears, right? The fear of the unknown, the fear of the darkness, the fear of success, the fear of failure, blah, 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 blah. What I believe they map to two major fears. And when you can understand these fears and break through, I believe you have the golden key in life, no matter who you are or what you do. It's the fear of what other people think and the fear of change. And that's what you're really talking about, is the fear of evolution, the fear of change. And I always say, listen, at the end of the day, life doesn't care. The evolution train does not care if you agree, if you're ready, and if you want to do this, because it's going to you're either going to jump on that train or it's going to run you over. Exactly. Right?
That's
so,
exactly
and I think that's, at the end of the day, that's your message. And I love that, man, because it's such a big fear for people. Not only is it a big fear, but you're living proof, live and in color, that you had to get through that fear yourself. Right? So now you can teach that because you've done it. It's not a classroom. It's not a textbook. It's the real world. You went from $250,000, multiple properties, horses, everything you really wanted at your disposal, to selling or delivering pizza, right? To now understanding how to get back in the game, right? So there you go, man. That trumps any university that you could pick. And it's a much better deal, right? It's a commission. So listen, it's a much better game plan. Would you agree?
It was expensive, yes.
Right? For you, but for them, right? Instead of getting in debt.
If I want to teach, you know, that's what I want to teach, is that mindset, because everything else comes out from that.
That's it. It all follows. So I love that. So Big man. Oh, before we jump off, let me see if anybody else jumped on. Let's see here. We got Big John. We got Chris. We got Tom. So like I said, Keith's going to jump back on today, reintroduce himself, connect with everyone, post all his information. Now, speaking of the mindset, you're going to love this, man. We end the show the same way every time. See, I believe that we can only be in one state of mind at a time. So if we are in victim state, at that moment, there's no room for gratitude. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Or if you're in that happiness state, right, or joy, or that good champion mindset, at that moment, there's no room for victim. There's no room for poor me. There's no room for any of that.
Sure.
And I believe that no matter how much our ego wants to tell us that we make the rules, unfortunately, me and you don't make the rules. Life makes the rules, right? So, and life always gives us options, right? Life says, Keith, you went through this, and now you have the choice to either learn, grow, and move forward, or stay the victim, right? And poor me. And when you're staying the victim, you're going to keep delivering pizza, right? Versus, right? That. So right now, life is asking you, Keith, if you had an option to live your life in an unstoppable state the majority of the day, how would you feel?
Awesome.
Right? And it's asking you another question. You're not off the hot seat. It's Keith, Cowboy Keith. If you could live your life purring like a kitten or roaring like a lion, what are you going to do?
Oh, a lion, baby.
That's it, brother. So we take this out Monster Motivator style. Ready?
All right.
So we're going to do this. Now, the sound is just as important as the pose.
All right.
And it's going to put you in that unstoppable state. The energy's through the roof. And it looks like this. On 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. That's it, brother.
Right on, brother.
That's it, man.